Good morning, Mr. Govindan. Mr. Govindan, can you hear me?
Are you able to hear us?
Yes, sir. Now we can hear you. Good morning, sir.
You can view also?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Inku. Good morning, Mr. Zohrab Gadirov. This is Naveen Seth from PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Delhi.
Good morning, Mr. Seth. Good morning, everyone. Hello.
Yeah, we have Mr. Fahad also
Fahad
with
Madam
us.
Sawa.
Mr. Zohrab, we also have Mr. Saurabh Sanyal, our Secretary General, who is there.
Hello, hello. Morning.
Good morning, Vice President, sir.
Very good morning to everyone. Good to be here. Thank you.
Yes. Vice President, sir, just to inform, we already have Mr. Zohrab Gadirov, Head of Investment Department from Promo, Azerbaijan. We also have Mr. Fohad Umbatov, the Deputy Secretary General from the National Confederation of Entrepreneurs Organization, Azerbaijan.
Hello, hello.
And we also have Mr. PK Govindanji from the Indian Embassy in Baku, who has been very helpful in organizing this event, sir.
Wonderful, wonderful. A very, very good morning to all.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning.
Maybe I'm not in their screen, no? You have to be in their screen.
Mayank, you can change the screen.
Sir, if I may request our Azerbaijan friends as to what is the position of the China virus in your beautiful country. How are you facing it? Are there many cases there?
I think there are not as many cases as in some other countries, and the trend is different. You know, some days we have more people who get infected, some days are less, but on average, it's my perception, I think it's around 40, 50 new cases, and the number of recoveries is more or less the same. So the government is very flexible and is taking measures all the time. It's monitoring the situation. At some point, we could have, like some easings, but I think like if it starts picking up again, there could be some limitations imposed again. At least this is what is announced. As to the losses, I think I'm not sure. I think the figure was at around 29. Maybe it's what, madam?
Yes, 28 deaths, 1,536 recovering, and more infected people in the 2,127 up to date. This figures up to date.
Sir, has your country also been under lockdown the way India has been?
Excuse me?
Has your country also been under lockdown the way India has been?
Yeah. We are on the lockdown. The country's borders are closed, and this will last until throughout the entire May. So at least for May, this would be the case. How is the situation in India?
So here things are, the government has been able to do a good job in controlling it. But now we from the industry chamber strongly feel that we need two things in India. Number one, we need a very strong fiscal package for the industry and the trade to come out of it. While our national leadership has done some things, but but not at par with what is happening in in America or in England, Canada. They have had fiscal packages of 10% or 5% or 7% of the GDP. So we from industry and trade are requesting our government also that kindly give immediately a fiscal package of at least 7 to 10% of our GDP. That is the main thing we're asking. And also we are requesting one thing. You see, we are all here to stay and live with this China virus. This is not going to go away very fast. Now, if we keep all our industries and our economic activities closed for a very long time, it will affect our economy overall. So it is very important that we open up the economy. However, we identify the the hot spots where all these cases are. And if assuming there's a multi-story building in which you have 5 cases, then seal the full building. That is the containment zone. Now, for example, in a place like Delhi, we have got 90 containment zones. 90 containment zones means something like, places where there may be 100 houses or something. Now, they have only a population of 5 lakhs, 500,000. But Delhi's population is 1.0 crores. Now the patients are there only in 3% of Delhi. I mean, they are just 3% of the population. So we are requesting the government that, look, please don't make the full Delhi as a red zone. Let the economic activity move. Because if the economic activity does not revive for a very long time, then there's a
I'll need, excuse me, I will very shortly need to take a call and I will get back. I'm sorry. Very quick.
Sure, sir. So there will be a very, very big crisis situation if we have to save our economy also.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you because you know that in our country the same situation. I suppose the government has to define the lines, the directions of development of some very vulnerable sectors of the economy in order to recover all over the economy, and this I agree with you, and I suppose in a close future we will see some tailored approach to this situation.
And sir, of course, we would not like to be sitting in the shoes of the leadership, because irrespective of what they do, however good or bad they do, they will always be criticized. So we all need to stand. We all need to stand rock solid with our leadership in this very, very difficult times. So that is there also. While supporting them, we will keep on giving our suggestions, because I think your leadership and our leadership, I think they both are doing a great job.
Yeah, surely. Yeah.
Vice President, sir, I just wanted to welcome Mr. Purushottam Bagheria ji also, who is the chairman for the International Affairs Committee for CIS and Europe of PhD, and also the Honorary Consulate General of Moldova in India, Mr. Bagheria.
Good morning, everybody. Good
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Just waiting for His Excellency to join and start it.
I'm very much here. I've been.
Yeah.
Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Excellency.
I've been listening to your very interesting conversation regarding the COVID situation both in Azerbaijan and India. So I was muting myself. But good morning to everybody. Greetings from Baku. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you very much, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, His Excellency.
So, Excellency, with your permission, we will start this officially, this session today, which we are calling as India-Azerbaijan Business Promotion Opportunities and Challenges Post-COVID-19. So, Excellency, we really thank you for sparing your time and coming for the discussion with us. We really appreciate that, sir. Thank you very much. We also welcome our two guests from ASPROMO and AST from Azerbaijan for being with us today. So I now officially request our Vice President, Mr. Pradeep Multani from PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry to give his opening address and share his views. Mr. Multani, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. A very good morning to all the esteemed participants today. We have with us His Excellency Mr. B. Vanyallavam, Ambassador of India to Azerbaijan. We have Mr. Purushottam Bagheria, Chairman, International Affairs Committee for Europe and CIS, PhD. We have Mr. Vikram Gera, Co-Chairman, International Affairs Committee for Europe and CIS of PhD. Mr. Ashish Nath, Co-Chairman, International Affairs Committee for Europe and CIS, PhD. Can you hear me, Naveen? Can I be heard?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Zorab Gadirov, Head of Investment Department, Azerbaijan Export Promotion and Investment Organization. Mr. Ford Ambatov, Deputy Secretary General, National Confederation of Entrepreneurs Organization. Mr. Saurabh Sanyal, Secretary General of PhD. Members of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I, on my personal behalf and on behalf of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, extend a very warm welcome to His Excellency Mr. B. Vanyallavam, Ambassador of India to Azerbaijan, and also welcome to the diplomats from the Embassy of India, Azerbaijan. I would also like to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Zorab Kadirov, Head of Investment Department, Azerbaijan Export Promotion and Investment Organization, and Mr. Ford Ambatov, Deputy Secretary General, National Confederation of Entrepreneurs. So, PhD Chamber of Commerce Industry has been working for the promotion of Indian industry, trade, and entrepreneurship as a catalyst for the past 114 years, and is a forward-looking, proactive, and dynamic pan-India apex organization present in 23 states and 2 union territories. As a partner in programs with industry and government, PhD with a special focus on MSMEs, micro, small, and medium enterprises, works at the grassroots level with strong national and international linkages for propelling progress, harmony, and integrated development of the Indian economy. PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry appreciates the government for its proactive and extensive preventive measures to protect the citizens and the economy from the adverse impact of the unprecedented catastrophe which has befallen on the nation by the spread of Covid-19 pandemic. The Chamber stands in complete solidarity with the government and pledges to extend its wholehearted support in whatever means required and possible to help the nation stand against the wild tide of Covid-19 and overcome its adverse impact and come out victorious by defeating the Covid-19 virus. The Azerbaijani-Indian relations are long-standing and mature. Numerous evidences support the past ties of both the countries since from the times of Silk Road, which connected India with Azerbaijan. The Atishga fire temple in the vicinity of Baku is a fine example of the age-old historical relations and cultural exchanges between India and Azerbaijan. It is a well-established fact that India remains committed to expanding its strategic partnership with Azerbaijan. Regular high-level visits and exchanges have been a key feature of this partnership and is a testimony of the strong bond the countries share. The relationship between the countries is decorated by several high-level visits of the heads of states of both the nations. Honorable Vice President Shri M. Venkata Naidu led a delegation at the 18th Summit of Head of State and Government of the Non-Aligned Movement NAM, held at Baku last year, 25th to 26th October 2019, at Baku to strengthening India's engagement with NAM and its member countries through bilateral meetings. Over the years, India's bilateral trade with Azerbaijan has increased substantially from around $50 million in 2005 to around $1,093 million in 2019. The primary import of India from Azerbaijan is crude oil. On investment front, more than 230 Indian companies are operating in Azerbaijan and have invested more than $1.2 billion in various sectors like energy, agriculture, and food processing, pharmacology, tourism, ICT, stone and ceramics, travel and tourism, printing and packaging, mobile manufacturing, infrastructure, etc. India and Azerbaijan are also participants in the North-South International Transport Corridor project, through which goods may be supplied to Europe in a shorter period of time and at lower prices than via traditional routes. The relations are also developing rapidly in the energy sphere. Indian ONGC, Videsh company, owns a stake in the project of development of the Azeri Chirag Kunashli block of oil and gas fields in the Azerbaijani sector of the Caspian Sea. With the focus of Government of India on trade, tourism, and technology, post-COVID-19, PhD will extend all possible assistance to the business houses from both the countries to grab the opportunities in a timely manner. PhD remains committed to assist the industry to overcome the difficulty it faces currently, with all possible representation to be made to the government and the associations across the globe. Excellency, as you are aware that PhD Chamber has been actively participating and organizing BEXT of India Show, an exclusive multi-sector India product show at Baku with support of Department of Commerce, Government of India, and Embassy of India, Baku. We are grateful to you for your support and guidance in successful organization of the same. We look forward to have many more such events in near future. Excellency, my colleague, Mr. Purushottam Bagaria, Chairman, International Affairs Committee for Europe, PhD, will share detailed information on India-Azerbaijan trade and the way forward. With these words, I would like to welcome you all once again. Thank you very much and God bless all.
Thank you very much, Vice President, sir, for giving the broader view of between India and Azerbaijan trade and setting the tone. So now I would like to invite Shri Purushottam Bagaria ji, who is the chairman for the International Affairs Committee, CIS and Europe for PhD Chamber. And His Excellency, he is also the Honorary Consulate General of Moldova to India. Mr. Purushottam Bagaria, please.
Good morning, everyone. My welcome to His Excellency Mr. B. Vanalvana, Ambassador of India to Azerbaijan, Mr. Pradeep Multani, Vice President, PhD Chamber of Commerce, Mr. Vikram Gera, Co-Chairman of International Affairs Committee for Europe and CIS, Mr. Ashish Nath. I don't know whether he's joined or not. Anyways, I would like to welcome him. Mr. Zorab Gadirov, Head of Investment Department, Azerbaijan Export Promotion and Investment Organization, Mr. Fod Umbatov, Deputy Secretary General, National Confederation of Entrepreneurs Organization, Mr. Saurabh Sanyal, our Secretary General of PhD, members of PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, a very good morning to all of you for sparing your time and attending this webinar. Once again, I would like to welcome you all, and especially His Excellency Mr. B. Vanalvana, and thank you all for being here. This session, I'm sure, is going to be very informative and interesting about the relations between India and Azerbaijan, and I'm happy that PhD Chamber could organize the same on this platform. India and Azerbaijan have friendly relations and growing bilateral cooperation based on civilizational linkages, cultural affinities, and shared values of understanding and respect for other cultures. Oil-rich Azerbaijan has redefined itself over the last 2 decades from a struggling newly independent state to a major regional energy player. A strategically located $170 billion economy, oil remains the most prominent product of Azerbaijan's economy, with cotton, natural gas, and agricultural products contributing to its economic growth. The bilateral trade between India and Azerbaijan has increased substantially over the years. It has shot up almost 22 times in the last 15 years, from 50 million to 1.1 billion. The jump in bilateral trade coincided with the opening of the Baku-Isilbi-Chene oil pipeline to the Mediterranean port, from where Indian oil companies have been buying substantial quantities of crude oil. Apart from crude oil, the other import of India from Azerbaijan has been iodine, components of earth-moving and tunneling machines, unwrought lead, and cattle skins. During January-December 2019, mobile phone was the main commodity which was being imported from India by Azerbaijan, valuing to about $29 million, with 17.8% of total import of mobile phones in Azerbaijan. Basmati rice is just behind, being the second commodity which Azerbaijan has been importing from India, amounting to $28.27 million, which accounts for almost 75% of the total import of rice in Azerbaijan. Apart from rice and mobile phones, other potential products of exports are drugs, human vaccine, kali and natrium bromide, excavators, heating boilers, liquid pumps, agricultural produce, agricultural tractors, cars, meat, black tea, etc. Logistical complexity between India and Azerbaijan were a very large issue in setting up of trade foundation or exploring synergies between the two countries. The NSTC, the North-South Trade Corridor, is a huge impetus to correcting the fundamentals between the two nations. The North-South Corridor is a multi-mode network of ship, rail, and road route for moving freight between India, Iran, Afghanistan, Armenia, Azerbaijan, and Russia. The objective of the corridor is to increase the trade connectivity between major cities such as Mumbai, Moscow, Tehran, Baku, etc. Once complete, the route is set to drastically reduce transport time between India and Azerbaijan. Three sectors which have substantial potential between the two countries are food processing, pharmaceuticals, and technology. India's expertise in the same can have huge play as Azerbaijan looks at diversifying its hydrocarbons dependence. India can play a very enabling role in partnering them for the same. We at PhD Chamber of Commerce feel that it is important to encourage people to people contact and mediums like these interactive sessions and B2B meetings to build such contacts and overcome the issue of lack of business awareness on both sides. The Chamber was always endeavored to strengthen the bonds of cooperation between India and Azerbaijan. In March 2019, PhD Chamber of Commerce, in support with the Embassy of India, Baku, and Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, organized Best of India show in Baku. Azerbaijan, with participation of 75 Indian companies. PhD has also led a high-level joint delegation along with Federation of Indian Export Organization to Baku in July 2019. So we at PhD Chamber of Commerce are leaving no stone unturned to connect with the Government of India, the foreign missions based here and Indian missions abroad, and we assure our best cooperation to all at this time of the pandemic. With these words, I would like to conclude here, hoping we have a great interactive session, and I hand over the mic back to Mr. Naveen Seth. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bagaria, for sharing the sectors which have potential of trade between the two countries. And now just we have given the Indian perspective. Now we have our friends from Azerbaijan. So I would like to start with Mr. Zohrab Gadirov, the head of investment department as Promo, which is Azerbaijan Export Promotion and Investment Organization. And just for the information of all, we have a MOU arrangement also with them, where we help each other in sharing information about the industry and trade, and also hosting and facilitating the delegations whenever we have in each respective countries. So, Mr. Zohrab, please.
Thank you. I welcome everyone. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity. It's very nice to be here. I really much thank the speeches made by Mr. Bagheria, by Mr. Vice President Multani as well. Thank you very much. I heard a lot of interesting information. I think I had similar information to share with on the Azerbaijan side, but it's very good to hear. My warmest regards to the representatives of the embassy, and certainly to His Excellency Mr. Van der Wagner. To ladies and gentlemen, to everybody who is joining this, and Mr. Seth, thank you very much for moderating today's meeting. So what I wanted to start with, I wanted to provide you with some maybe information, because I think we have some larger audience than just representatives of the embassy and the Chamber of Commerce. Very brief, very short overview of the economy in Azerbaijan prior to what started happening from the virus. But, the GDP of the country is $48 billion, which is converted per capita is around 5,000 USD. The population compared to India, of course, is not as big. It's only 10 million, and we reached this milestone last year. So we have one of the lowest public debts throughout the earth, I would say. It's decreasing, by the way. So that was good as well. As it was rightfully mentioned in the speeches of Mr. Multani and Mr. Bagheria, crude oil is very important for the economy. Nevertheless, the goal of the government, this is what ASPROM is doing, is to reduce the dependency on the oil products and to diversify the economy. Overall, our trade balance is quite positive, and again, due in many cases to the fact that we are trading crude oil. I also think both speakers mentioning the north-south transport corridor, it is very important. In many cases we discuss east to west, but I think north to south has tremendous potential since it's uniting so many countries from Europe to India, and we're very happy to be part of this important corridor. Just to tell you that like we have some very good infrastructure here in Azerbaijan, also the largest probably sea trade port on the Caspian Sea, several international airports, certainly the railroad, which has a huge potential for transporting cargo goods by meat through Azerbaijan. So that's important. I think I would not go into too many details with the presentation here. It's important to mention that investment climate in the country is very favoring making attracting foreign investment. I think with India right now, the signing of the bilateral investment treaty is in discussion. So that's going as well, and I hope when it's signed, this will be another boost to the development of the relations between countries. Of the incentives, I would just like to mention one thing, that within our industrial technology parks, we have some significant incentives for the period of 10 years with zero corporate tax, income tax, zero land and property tax, and some other incentives as well. This also applies if you're starting a business with investment promotion document, so you can obtain incentives for another 7 years with the similar incentives. I think I would also like to touch on some of the incentives that are taking place throughout these times. We're speaking in the times of COVID, taking outburst. I'd like to say that I know that many governments are taking, well, pretty much every government is taking measures against this. Azerbaijan is not an exception. The government supported many people throughout these difficult times. Around 300,000 employees working for the employers were supported with an average monthly salary throughout these hard times. Another 300,000 individual entrepreneurs, such as medium and small enterprise, working for the medium and small enterprises, has also been, individual enterprises have been supported in these hard times. Apart from that, 600,000, that's pretty significant, of unemployed people who do not work at all, were also supported for the periods, for the months of April and May. They've been shown material support. And if we're speaking about the sectors, we mentioned several sectors, and one of them was tourism. Tourism is one of the sectors affected the most, as well as the industries, as trade and transportation. So for these industries, we also had some tax and custom incentives. Of the tax incentives, the companies were relieved of the land and property tax. Those companies paying corporate income tax were relieved of the 75% of their income tax, and those paying on the simplified tax, which is only 2% largely, and half of that was taken away as well. So it's only 1% for the company. So it's been relieved a lot. Overall, not to go into many details on this area, but just to give you some figures, is that Azerbaijan has spent, committed itself to, providing aid in the amount of 3.5 billion AZN. This converts into more than 2 billion USD, and that is around 4% of our country's GDP. So that's in place. When it comes to India, yes, it was mentioned that we have a long-standing and mature relations. After the regaining of independence of Azerbaijan, we established our relations very early in 1992. There have been a number of mutual visits from India to Azerbaijan, from Azerbaijan to India. There has been created legal database. As Mr. Seth mentioned, we have indeed a memorandum in place, which makes us actually very happy. I think that's very important. a number of Indian companies working in Azerbaijan. I hope the number of Azerbaijani companies working in India will also be growing. There's a significant amount of investments. I think it's been more than 1 billion of investments from India to Azerbaijan. Not as significant from Azerbaijan to India, but I think that amount is growing. It's currently at the level of around $40 million. So our trade between the two countries is also growing. I think this year we will nevertheless see some reduction because of the situation happening, and also because, as it was mentioned, food was an important part of this trade, and I'm not sure that this year will be as effective in terms of trade of oil as the previous years have been. So I think we already witnessing the decrease in the trade volumes, but we really hope it's only a partial thing because, like as it was mentioned correctly, we monitor the situation in India closely as well, because this is one of our important partners. This is one of the largest countries and economies in the world, and I think GDP-wise is in the top 5 in the world, which is huge, of course. And the embassy is doing a very good job, and we're getting information on the reforms and incentives happening in India. I think for 2021, I think it's planned that your country, your beautiful country, 100% of tax exemption on interest, on dividend capital gains would be provided. So we monitor that. Actually we try our best to distribute this information about among our companies here, local producers, local companies, because we want for them to have the best opportunities across the world as well. I'd like to just mention another thing, that Azerbaijan is part of World Association of Investment Promotion Agencies, and Invest India is also part of VIPA, and we've been monitoring their activities there as well. We've seen that they have taken some very, very good measures. They've established platforms immediately as we had this outbreak of COVID, and they provided information support to all the parties applying. So that was honestly very, very impressive, very nice to see. We're speaking in times when there is still this outbreak of the COVID, and it's not really certain when this would go away. But one thing for sure, I think the event we're having today is very important to have right now, right today. Why? Because it's very good to start considering what we can do after this is finished, to be prepared for this, like have this mutual understanding that there are some potential areas, and post-crisis there could be more potential areas. We as Aspromo are in the midst of our institutional development. We're working on our new FDI strategy. We're working on a program related to GVCs, global value chain succession, and what we can understand, and this is our idea, maybe some of you would share that, maybe not, but after this pandemic, the pandemic is over, many chains could be disrupted throughout the world, economic, trade, and other chains, due to various reasons, supply and demand reasons or other reasons. So despite the fact the crises are not very good, people think have some complications with this, but on the other side, it's always an opportunity. So I hope post this pandemic, we will have some serious opportunities for the further development of economic and trade and investment relations between India and Azerbaijan. I'm sorry if I took slightly more of the time than I was supposed to, but it's very nice to be here and really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It was indeed a lot of things which we look forward to exchange as per the need of the industry. Now, I would like to request Mr. Fuad Hambatov of ASK to kindly share his views, please.
dear friends, Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for all the friends from PHDCCI and other organizations for inviting me to this video conference. And I would like to thank all our colleagues. In fact, nowadays the world is facing the worst crisis maybe since the Second World War, and now COVID-19 is a global crisis. But it's very clear that we have. Do you hear me? Yes. Yes. And I suppose the COVID-19 is, as we know, this global crisis. But in each country, we have to find some local solutions of this problem. And in this situation, solidarity, cooperation are very important issues, very important for in bilateral and multilateral relations with our partners. And from the beginning, our ISCAVA Confederation was involved in some working groups created by the relevant decree of our president in order to assess the situation assess the impact of this COVID-19 to the economy, to social life. And we have prepared very detailed support mechanisms from in consultation with our members in other relevant committees of ISK, in order to prepare this package of mechanisms along with other economic institutions in Azerbaijan. So, and as mentioned my friend Zorab about concrete details of the package of mechanisms for employees and the SMEs in Azerbaijan, as he mentioned, that I suppose very impacted, very most impacted the sectors of our economy is tourism, trade, manufacturing, transport, and nowadays our government continues to prepare the other support package in order to revive these sectors and to revive the old supply chain, and at first locally, and in the same time other with partnership with other organizations, international organizations. And I suppose in order to eliminate the very hard consequences of this crisis, we have to cooperate together with our partners for example, PHDCCI, with which we have very perspective memorandum has been signed in 2018, and there is a great potential to realize all these items that indicated in this document. And I suppose nowadays, yesterday we have had a very interesting video conference with Economic Cooperation Organization members in Baku, and where we detailed we have made some details of future post-pandemic strategy roadmap of cooperation with our partners in ECO, and as well as in Turkish Council countries. And my suggestion is to prepare some roadmap with our Indian partners in order to revive the sectors that are very interesting in bilateral has very in bilateral interest. It could be IT sectors, tourism, trade, etc. In the same time, I suppose it's necessary to facilitate the transit through Caspian Sea, transit through the historical Silk Way passage, and I suppose it's necessary to harmonize some regulations, maybe in custom regulations, in other issues in order to make this route west-east route very active, operating. And that's why I suppose to cooperate to work out some roadmap with support our embassy and with our partners PHDCCI in order to push revive our cooperation relations for post-pandemic period. And we are very ready. Our ISK is ready to cooperate with all the partners in our world, in particular with India, because and nowadays we are going to create some platform, maybe it's a platform for electronic some digitalization of our relations. Maybe it will be wise to create some electronic some platforms in order to place all the proposals from our Indian partners for our members. No, it will be very wise to discuss this issue as well. Thank you very much for inviting me, and on behalf of our president, Mr. Musaev, I'd like to thank all of our friends from India, and we are ready to cooperate closely with our all partners. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fuad, for sharing your views. And as you very rightly mentioned that having the MOU with you and ASPROMO, we would like to take this further. And as a follow-up of this session, maybe another week or 10 days, we would like to have exclusive B2B meetings, sector-specific, between your members and our members, with the guidance of His Excellency, and we can take that further. So now I would like to invite His Excellency Mr. Varnavalana, the Indian Ambassador to Azerbaijan, to share his views and guide us that what are the opportunities available for Indian companies to trade with Azerbaijan post-COVID. His Excellency, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Seth. Distinguished friends from India and from Azerbaijan. Once again, a very, very good morning to all of you. Let me begin by thanking the PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the leadership for organizing this very important interaction. I acknowledge Mr. Pradeep Multani, Vice President, Mr. Purushottam Bagaria, and also I would also like to thank our colleagues from ASPROMO and ASK, Mr. Jorab and Mr. Fuad, for sparing their very, very valuable time to join us today in this interaction. This shows the commitment you have towards the relationship. I have heard you speak. I know that you have always been available for us in our interactions, but in this time, I feel it even more heartening to see both of you here participating alongside us. Friends, a lot has been said about the bilateral economic relationship, so I don't want to go into details, but I just want to underline that today's meeting has been initiated by the PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry to discuss post-COVID-19 business promotion activities, I think is indeed very, very timely. Friends, the coronavirus pandemic is having a deep impact on economies around the globe, and our two economies are not immune to the unprecedented damage caused to economic activities by the pandemic and the resulting lockdown in many parts of the world have devastating impact on across the world. Friends, you would all agree that we are in a very different time. When some of us, those from the PhD Chamber of Commerce, ASPROMO, and ASK, when we had all met here in July last year, I think none of us had foreseen that we would be interacting in this way, and this would be, the new mode of communication between all of us. Well, all of us should hope for better times when we can meet again, when we can visit again and interact like in the past. I think it is also very important that we all learn how to adapt ourselves. This kind of mode of communication, where we substitute virtual meeting with actual meeting and try to conduct business. From that perspective, I think today we have made a very, very good beginning, and we would like to encourage more such meetings, particularly those focused on sector, as Mr. Shet has just indicated, specific sectors between members of the chambers, and of course the embassy would be very, very happy to facilitate and be part of that process. I don't know how many people, how many of our friends and colleagues from India had joined today, but the very fact that you are here is in fact, a testament of your continuing interest in promoting this business relationship between Azerbaijan. And to all those participants, I want to thank you. As speakers before me have mentioned, economic and trade relations between the two countries have witnessed a healthy growth in the past few years. In fact, according to the statistics of the Azerbaijan government, our trade has grown from slightly over $300 million to over $1 million in the last 5 years or so. And if you look at India's export, it has grown from around 35 million to in 2015 to around $136 million in 2019. During this period, friends, India has also emerged as the one of the top 4 export destinations for Azerbaijan products. Yet, friends, there is so much of potential to increase India's share in the Azerbaijan's global trade. It's now stood at roughly around 3.3%, I think, when you look at the size of our economy. Indian economy to start with, and of course, the size of the Azerbaijan economy, I think there is so much of potential for us to increase that share, and I think that is the main reason why we have gathered here today. To take this forward, of course, Mr. Bagaria has mentioned about it. We also have identified some specific sectors where we can take this forward. I don't want to go into details of that, but some of them are already as part of our traditional trade basket. Things like pharmaceutical has a lot of potential. India is emerging from the post-COVID-19 as a pharmacy of the world. You all must have read about the initiatives of the government of India in helping all friendly countries around the world during this time by supplying pharmaceutical products. Therefore, India has re-established itself as the pharmacy of the world, and I think we can ride on that wave and also try to increase our market share in the Azerbaijan market sector. IT services is another area where we have been focusing on, and of course, other services sector in general, like consultancy, engineering, and a host of other construction. Our companies are yet to make a firm footprint in the Azerbaijani market. Mr. Colleague from ASPROMO, Mr. Jorab had mentioned about the opportunities here in Azerbaijan. I think that is another area where I would like members who are present here today to focus on. Many other things like electronic goods, including mobile phones, has seen remarkable growth potentials in gems and jewelry sector, tea, leather, auto components. There are a few, and we have done specific studies on these, and we'll be very happy to share with the members if you have further interest in these. Even outside of these sectors, there is indeed so much of potential where the business and collaboration. Friends, I'm saying this with some level of confidence from my personal experience, because I came here to Baku slightly over a year ago, and during this time we have seen increasing trend where Indian companies are increasingly recognizing the importance of engaging with their Azerbaijani counterparts, partly to do with our even the vibrancy of our own economy, but also much to do with economic reforms and transformation that is taking place in Azerbaijan itself. The outbreak of this pandemic would, of course, somehow, we can all expect it will somehow slow down this process, growth in our bilateral relations to a certain extent, but we are very positive that our level of engagement would bounce back very quickly, and we could focus on diversification and intensification of our relations between our two countries. Mr. Jorab has mentioned that government is also at the government-to-government level. We are actively engaged in it. We are presently negotiating taxation and investment-related agreements, which, when concluded, provide a more efficient ecosystem for our business to operate in. We have also heard about our collaboration in the international North-South transport corridor, which is very, very important because without connectivity, we can't increase our trade. And of course, we continue to work to operationalize direct air connectivity, which we are very, very confident will have a very far-reaching positive implications for our overall economic relations post-COVID-19. Friends, beyond trade also, I think there is so much of opportunities. Our colleagues from ASPROMO and ASIS also mentioned about it. If any one of you are looking for opportunity to invest or expand your footprint to this part of the world, please be assured that the embassy is available for you. There are certain sectors where I think Azerbaijan is increasingly getting ready to receive investment. Sectors like pharmaceuticals, information technology, and agriculture are some of the identified areas where we have strength. So therefore, very, very happy to work with you on this as well. Mr. Jorab has also explained how we should move ahead and how business will be conducted in the post-COVID world. Of course, none of us are certain. You can say with certainty how this will happen, but we can be one thing we can be very certain is that we have to remain connected in whatever platform that is available till, like I said before, we can travel again and meet again. And of course, as soon as the situation improves, I would like to encourage those members who are here to get in touch with us, to actually plan for visits, because the earlier you come, the better. Of course, we have to take care of first priority is to take care of our health concerns and other things. But once the respective governments have cleared those kind of travel, I think it's very, very important to gain those physical contacts as well. And there are a few trade fairs which are already being planned in Azerbaijan starting from around October. I would like you also to watch this out and either come and visit or participate. It will be very good way to start. Friends, I just want to be a little bit specific and take on from what other speakers have said and talk a little bit about takeaways. Like I said before, I don't know how many of you are here, but one of the first takeaways which I want to advise all our members who are present today is to please visit our website, indianembassybaku.gov.in, and there is a section where we have created a small portal where you can feed in your trade queries. If I don't know if I suspect that we are more than 50, 60 members who are participating today. I would request each and every one of you to make a trade query. Whether you are looking for partners, whether you're looking for a customer, or you're looking for a supplier, please do chip in your trade query. We're very happy to address that and take it on from there. We asked Promo. We also heard about I think what is the key word today is partnership, like what you said. So therefore, the suggestion creating digital platform traction between chambers of the two countries stands because the AZ Chamber of Commerce already had MOUs with these two very key organizations in Azerbaijan. I think that would also be a way forward and a takeaway from this meeting. Try to create a digital platform where we track bilaterally on a more focused manner. So friends, let me end by saying that I think what is important is that we need to increase the frequency of our interactions, either through these platforms, or through our business chamber like today, or if possible, even individually amongst our members. We at the embassy would be very happy to interact with you individually, because unlike in the past, particularly during this time when Azerbaijan is still not fully opened up because of the pandemic crisis. Our friends have said that the 31st of May, government has decided to continue the quarantine measures. So during this time, I think let us take advantage of this opportunity, because we cannot go out for meetings. We are available to interact with you, to have this kind of personalized telephone conversations or video conversations. So if you reach out to us, we know that you are available and you are interested in talking to us. We'll be very, very happy with you. Once again, let me thank AG Chamber of Commerce, colleagues from as Promo and us for this opportunity, and we really look forward to continue this engagement. I'm very sure that in next coming weeks, PhD will roll out more such webinars, and we'll be very happy to continue participating, and so that we can discuss things which are more specific to the requirement of. Thank you so much for your attention and time, and back to you, Mr.
Thank you very much, Excellency, for sharing such a detailed information about the opportunities which are available for Indian companies to do business with Azerbaijan post-COVID. And as you very rightly mentioned that we also, because personally I was also there in Baku exhibition when we had gone there. So it was a very good interaction which we had with Ask Promo, Ask and the Indian Embassy officials. And our participants also were really happy with the response. Mr. Bhageria led the delegation at that time along with our Secretary General. And next year it was another delegation which when you were also there, Excellency, we had that exhibition there. So I think the sectors which you have mentioned definitely have potential, and we have our members from these sectors. Today also, as you have been mentioning in your speech, that there are around 50 people, out of which around 30 to 35 companies are those who have interest in this sector. So I think we will definitely take it up with them and have a follow-up meeting, as I mentioned earlier also, in another week or 10 days, specific sector-wise, along with Promo and ASK, and taking your advice and take it further. So now I would like to make the floor open, and we have people who would like to give their suggestions and some questions also. So I would like to start with Mr. Vikram Gera, who is our co-chair for the International Affairs Committee for CIS. So Mr. Gera, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Naveen-ji. I just wanted to add a few comments to all the distinguished panelists. We've had a wonderful relationship with Azerbaijan, and the cultural exchanges over the ages have led to close cultural affinity and shared traditions. The world-renowned Azerbaijan poet Nizami Ganjavi had a profound influence on eminent Indian poets like Amir Khusro. In recent past, the famous Azerbaijani artist, late Rashid Behbubov, a noted tenor who switched to singing popular Azeri songs in European classical tradition, was a close friend of the late Raj Kapoor. Indian intellectuals like Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore are well known in Azerbaijan, and his birth anniversary is regularly celebrated by local organizations. Indian cinema continues to have a large following, an Indian music and dance group sponsored by the ICCR regularly participate in music and dance festivals. Yoga is immensely popular in Azerbaijan, and the International Day of Yoga on 21st June is attended by several yoga practitioners and enthusiasts from Azerbaijan with much enthusiasm. And even in the education sector, I feel there is an opportunity. Under the Technical and Economic Cooperation Program, the Government of India offers a number of fully paid training courses to professionals from Azerbaijan every year. This year, 22 slots are allotted to Azerbaijan. India also provides one scholar slot every year to Azerbaijani students under the General Scholarship Scheme of Indian Council for Cultural Relations. A Hindi teaching center has been functioning in the Azerbaijan University of Languages since October 2010 with support from ICCR, which has deployed a Hindi chair at the center. An India Center is also functioning in the Institute of Literature of Azerbaijani National Academy of Sciences. And in 2017, we celebrated the 25th anniversary of the diplomatic relations. So I'm sure with the help of the Excellency and with cooperation from the chambers, I'm sure the trade and relations will go on further and will develop a new relationship post-COVID. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gera. So now I would like to invite Mr. Surinder Kalra, who is the co-chair for our International Affairs Committee for Gulf. Please, Mr. Kalra. Kalra ji, you need to unmute. Yes, sir.
You can hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'll be very brief, and my queries are both to Mr. Ford and Mr.
Zoran.
Boron. Yeah, in the sense that we are a firm of Mr. Zorab and Mr. Ford, that we want to talk to those B2B companies wherein they require certain investments. We have got certain PE funds which could be interested in certain investments. Second is regarding the IT platform which they are creating. We would like to participate in that, particularly for the blockchain and artificial intelligence things. Digitalization platform which we are creating, we would like to participate in that.
Thank you, Kalra ji. So we also have Mr. Nasir Zaidi, who runs a very big travel agency here, and also the chairman for one of our international affairs committee for Gulf. Mr. Nasir Zaidi, please.
Good morning, His Excellency. Greetings from PhD and my team. We would request you to consider the opportunities to be explored further. I know we have done a lot in aviation and tourism, but still there needs to be a lot of findings that we need to explore with regards to aviation and cargo. There's an immense potential with Azerbaijan being at such a strategic location, and that can ideally be used as the gateway to most of Central Asia and a large part of Europe. Besides, for tourism, we have just been specifically been concentrating on MICE, to be precise, but there's a lot that can be done. There's a lot of film tourism, there are a lot of cultural exchanges, student exchanges that can be explored both ways. That would be my request to you, sir. Naveenji, it's over from me now.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Zaidi.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you. So now we have Ms. Shrestha Chatterjee. Ms. Chatterjee, if you can ask your question.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. I would like to know what is the prospect for the leather goods sector in Azerbaijan? Since we are leather goods manufacturers and exporters based from Calcutta, and we are exporting mostly in Europe right now, and we would like to set our feet in Azerbaijan. So what are the prospects for us? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Chatterjee. One more is Mr. Puneet Gupta. Mr. Puneet Gupta, if you can ask your question. There is some issue with this line. So, excellent. Yeah,
hello,
Mr. Gupta. Yeah, Mr. Gupta, please. Mr. Gupta, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. So first of all, it's a thanks for the effort that you have made for such a big connect. Secondly, we are manufacturers in Punjab for frozen foods, and we are agriculture-based company from last 100 years, in which we are cultivating potatoes, wheat, and everything. We just want to know how to connect and increase our business in Azerbaijan with the help of PhD chambers and the embassy. And I've written a couple of things that I'm manufacturing tomato paste, we are manufacturing frozen ready-to-eat products like samosas, pakoras, which we are already supplying to US and Canada. So what help? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Puneetji. I think we can talk to Mr. Fuhad and Mr. Zorab, and maybe Excellency can also advise us when he replies to these queries. So we have one more, Mr. Pramod Verma. Mr. Pramod Verma, if you can ask your question.
Yeah, good morning to everyone. I come from basically manufacturing industry, which is into air conditioning, refrigeration products. So wanted to understand what is the market for heating, ventilation, air conditioning for buildings or transportation like buses and trucks, and cold storage's requirement.
Thank you, Mr. Verma. And I will take just one more question. I think I can see Mr. Naveen Sardana, who is also the chairman for International Affairs for South Asia. Mr. Sardana, please. I think he is left.
Yeah.
So,
Mr. Naveen, I would like to ask a question also.
yeah, please, sir.
Yeah. Your Excellency and Mr. Zorab and Mr. Humbetov, you see, when we are facing this issue of COVID-19, the Indian government has in a very big way, as a prophylactic and as a preventive measure, they are giving the Ayush medicines to the Ayurveda medicines to the public. This is as a completely preventive measure, and this is by the Ministry of Ayush, and Honorable Prime Minister has been promoting it in a big way. You may like to. This is known as Ayush Kada. It is known as Ayush Kada or Ayush Kwat. Maybe that from a preventive point of view, if you would like to look at it, because this is also being manufactured by a company known as HLL, which is of the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. This is working very good, and whatever trials we have taken on the public.
There is no export. Yeah. Apart from,
so you may like to look into that, sir.
You don't have substantial export.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So, Excellency, we would like to have your views on the points being raised by the attendees today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for that. I don't know if I can great detail go through it, but again, if I start from some of the products which you just mentioned, start with from leather goods. Of course, we have already we have identified this as a potential sector since last year. And in fact, we have even consulted the Council for Leather Exports. But the key is that, of course, right now our market share would be in the range of around 6%, still very small out of the overall import market here in Azerbaijan. So definitely there is an opportunity. There is no leather-specific trade fairs presently being organized in Azerbaijan, but one can embed, oneself in trade fairs like the GIFT Promote fair, which hopefully this year we expect it to be held here around in October. Around that time, even if you cannot come and participate, I think it will be very useful to try to come and meet those people in the industry. Otherwise, also, I think, we also got a query regarding the food and agricultural sector, tomato paste and things like that. I think what is important, like I said before, please do write to us detail about this query, and we'll be very happy to take it forward. The third question about heating and cold storage buses, of course, presently, of course, coming back to agricultural sector, of course, we've done quite well. As we've heard before in our export of rice, we do export some amount of tea as well. But beyond that, agricultural products, we have not yet potential market share. So with regards to this heating, of course, companies like companies like Thermix are already exploring the market. Definitely, for an economy of almost $50 billion, the population of 10 million people, I think because we have an edge in these products, particularly in engineering services and other areas, and we have an edge in these products, there is an opportunity. But again, one has to make serious efforts. One has to interact with. You have to interact with us. You have to interact with organization like ASK on a sustained basis. So I would also request you, sir, to please drop a mail to us, or you can enter your query in the trade portal, and we'll be please refer to our discussion today. Very happy to come back to details. The last one from Mr. Yeah, about the Ayurveda, of course, Mr. Multani, yeah, sorry, about the Ayurveda, definitely, soon after when we started India, we started the lockdown, information which have been widely publicized. In fact, some of the newspapers, some of the online newspapers even carry articles about which were signed by us. Ayurveda as a preventive option. So it is very, very welcome. But unlike in India, traditional medicine is not very popular here. Mr. Ford and Mr. Jorab will correct me if I'm wrong. Traditional medicine is not very popular, as not just Ayurveda, but traditional medicine as a whole. So definitely it will take some time. But as part of our promotion of Indian spices, definitely commodities like turmeric, things like that are something which we continue to promote here, and I think that is a very, very welcome suggestion. And I hope that our colleagues from Azerbaijan, Mr. Ford and Mr. Jorab, indeed take note of Mr. Multani's suggestion. And of course, this is something which India can give to the world. These are heritage, ancient heritage, the sciences of in India, which has been passed on through generations, which has been tested 2 times in generation. And what works for us, I'm very sure. Work.
Yeah, Mr. Zohrab, would you like to comment on this, please, sir?
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for all this interest. It's very heartening, very interesting to get all this request. I very much agree with His Excellency that we would really be interested in receiving all these requests by means of correspondence, by means of email, because if we want to be serious about this, we would of course need to start doing this, communication directly, and as was proposed earlier during the event, we should be having these B2B meetings because otherwise this would not be as effective. This could be just another event. When it comes to the specific questions, I think it relates to what I said relates to everything. I know how developed IT sphere, how developed this software developed in India. It's not as much as developed as in Azerbaijan as in India. So if you think that you have some potential and there's an interesting solution that we could implement here, we could start working on from here or in any other way, please suggest that. I'm, by the way, ready to share my email. Mr. Seth thinks it's appropriate. Please share these contact information with all the participants of today's event so they can reach out directly. When it comes to aviation, yes, as I mentioned, highlighted through my presentation, we are located very interestingly in a very interesting location. So there are opportunities for development of these areas, and certainly tourism as well. And I think it was cultural exchange was also mentioned, which is also very important. I think the name of Tagore was mentioned, that the fact that it's celebrated here. So I think, by the way, today is the day of celebration. Today is actually his birthday, so it's one of the reasons to celebrate here today as well. That's in place. Leather goods sector, as Mr. Ambassador mentioned, this could be interesting because there's a tradition of production of leather skins here as well. So you mentioned you were asking one of the participants was asking on the prospects. I think the prospects are quite promising. Please apply to us for your specific request. request, we would be more than glad to assist you with establishing and settling here. And this actually has a potential because, like I said, this is more of a traditional area and this can become here. As to the frozen foods business, it's very nice to hear that you export to such developed countries. I think it would also be interesting. You mentioned tomato paste here. In Azerbaijan, we produce some very good tomatoes. Some other goods, commodities. I don't know what your expectations are, but nevertheless, I'd like to settle here or do some business here. The companies here. Please also let us know. There was also a question on from manufacturing producers on this air conditioning systems and ventilation systems. I think there's a potential for this as well. Azerbaijan has been going through the active phase of construction, and these are the related here. So please share with us your brochures, contact information. We would at least distribute this information about the local construction companies here, and we will see what the follow-up would be. So that's in place. On this traditional medicine, His Excellency mentioned, rightfully mentioned, that traditional medicine is not, we're not too big in traditional medicine, but maybe this could depend on how you, in a good way, sell this to the local public, to people here. With spices, absolutely, no doubt. Indian spices, just like Indian tea, is very well known here. It's a big brand, a big commodity. It has a lot of potential, and the potential is already being realized. So that's so. I think I tried to cover very briefly all the questions we had. I'm sorry if I missed anything. In any case, I'd be more than ready to share my contact information, and we'll be ready to stay in touch later on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zohra, for addressing each and every point. And as we can see that there are a lot of potential sectors where we both can work together. So as mentioned earlier and also advised by His Excellency, we would definitely come back to you soon to have specific B2B sessions so that it is beneficial for both the organizations and the members. So Mr. Fuhad, if you are with us, we would like to hear from you also, sir. I think there is some issue with this connection, I believe. So, so now I request our Secretary General, Mr. Saurabh Sanyal ji, to share his views and also propose the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Naveen. At the outset, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank, on behalf of the PhD Chamber and on my own, Your Excellency, Mr. B. Valal Wavna, the Ambassador of India to Azerbaijan. Your Excellency, pardon me for the pronunciation, but however, the deliberations that you made in today's webinar was excellent, particularly for me because I have visited Azerbaijan along with a delegation with Mr. Bagheria in the year 2018, and we had excellent interaction with 50 companies which we had gone with us, and excellent business exchange and inquiries floated during that time. Thereafter, again in 2019, my colleague Mr. Naveen has taken another delegation, and an exhibition there was established, and it was again, I believe, a very fruitful interaction and exchange of businesses. I would like to also thank Mr. Pradeep Multani, our Vice President, who set the pace for this webinar, and who brought out excellent initiatives which the PhD Chamber is doing, as also the Ayush and Ayurveda, which can do a lot of good for the Azerbaijanis in these challenging times of COVID-19. I would like to thank our chairman of the International Affairs Committee for Europe and CIS, Mr. Purushottam Bagheria, who is also the
Honorable Consul General for the Republic of Moldova in India for giving his theme address and also giving out and bringing out the areas of business and trade between Azerbaijan and India in a very, very pragmatic manner. And he has been to Azerbaijan a number of times, where he's also been very, very forthcoming in the international creating international business opportunities for the Indian companies which went there as a delegation. I would like to also thank Mr. Vikram Gera, the co-chairman of the International Affairs Committee for Europe and CIS, for bringing out the cultural, details of the Azerbaijan and India very, very nicely. And incidentally, for the information of all the participants here, I would like to say that India was one of the first countries to recognize Azerbaijan in the independence in 1991, and opening up a permanent residence, the High Commission there in 1999. This was a great initiative of the Indian government when Azerbaijan became independent and became part of the European Union. I would also like to thank Mr. Ashish Nath, co-chairman International Affairs Committee of Europe and CIS, in absentia. Mr. Zorab Gadirov, the head of investment department, Azerbaijan Export Promotion and Investment Organization, for as promo, for supporting us every time whenever PhD chairman had taken a delegation to Azerbaijan and set up an exhibition there with our team. Mr. Faud Hambatov, Deputy Secretary General, National Confederation for Entrepreneurs Employees Organization, ask. They have been very, very proactive, and we signed a MOU with both of them, and that has helped us in creating a lot of avenues for our members there. Would like to thank very carefully to the Honorable Access and every participant, ladies and gentlemen, and all of them who are here with us today. Let me assure you, as my colleague Mr. Naveen has already brought out, this is not the end all. We are going to be holding a large number of B2B and B2G platforms where we will interact with the government of various countries, and we will be providing you definite opportunities where you can do your planning and establish yourself as businessmen, as good businessmen from PhD chamber, with so that post Covid-19, when the environment opens up, you have tremendous opportunities all over the world. With these words, I once again thank each one of you, and especially Excellency for sparing his valuable time today and giving us this detailed insight into the Azerbaijan businesses. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, and Jai Hind.
Before we conclude, Excellency, Mr. Nasir Zaidi has one more point to add on. If you allow, Mr. Nasir Zaidi, please.